33 specifically right now, just because it's a little bit different from the other benefits. So how many folks in here are using Chapter 33 post 9/11? Hooray! Okay. So this benefit is separate from the rest, as it pays tuition and fees directly to the school. Chapter 31 does as well, but we're just going to go over 33. And it gets a little bit confusing because with the other benefits, so if you're using 35 or 1606, those are monthly stipends paid directly to the student, to you. But 33, again, tuition and fees is paid to the school, monthly allowances are paid to you. So the way we certify for 33, it's a two-step process. The first certification occurs before the semester starts, or right as the semester is starting. So y'all may actually have been certified already for your monthly allowances, and I'll go over how you check that. But the reason we do the first certification is just to let the VA know you're enrolled and that it doesn't delay any payments for your housing allowance. The second certification, and perhaps the most important, is the tuition and fees. Now this, we cannot certify until after the add drop period. The reason being is and it's happened, the reason is students may add or drop all their courses, so if we've certified you and the VA pays, you're gonna owe a huge chunk of change back to the VA. So it's just to prevent any debts from incurring, because again, you can add and drop up until that date, and then after that date, we're gonna go ahead and certify you once your credits are locked in. Most importantly, you probably already have hate mail from the bursars saying, your bill is due, your bill is due. Yeah, that's okay. So the bursars does not have an automated system to, so the bursars has to send those out because there's some students who are saying that they're using 100% post 9/11, or that they're using just all their benefits. And then when we go to certify them, turns out their benefits may have expired, or they didn't have as many as they thought, so their bill doesn't cover, and then the bursars is like, you guys said they were 100%. So the bursars has to send those. If you are 100%, and you've paid, if you're living in a residence hall meal plan charge, just know those charges are financially up to you to pay before the bill deadline via the offset of the monthly allowances. But as long as you're 100%, if you don't have any meal plan or residence hall charges, you can ignore the hate mail. Just ignore it. If it makes you squiggly or wiggly, just email Michael and I, and we can tell you to ignore it ourselves. Michael, am I missing anything with that?
No, because the VA typically pays tuition usually within 30 days after that add drop period.
Yeah, so we have 30, so the policy for certifying officials is 30 days after the add drop period is when we have to get tuition and fees submitted. The way we certify is first come, first serve based on the order in which the declaration was received. So whenever you declared use of your benefits, you've just fallen on a queue for processing. Last year we had 820 students using benefits. So we have, when our folks are certifying, they are just certifying. And Michael and I are filling in whenever, just to make sure we meet those deadlines. But that's our primary role.
And of those 820 students, almost all of them got that late fee because they were waiting on the VA, and it goes away once that tuition is paid by the VA.
Yeah, so if you have any late fees, again, as long as you paid your portion, so meal plan, residence hall charge if you have them. If you have any late fees that are tacked on afterwards, just let us know and we'll get them removed. Yeah. Oh, y'all can ask questions too, please.
So the meal plan and all that is not covered by the VA?
It is not. So tuition and fees are paid directly from the VA, and then the VA pays you the monthly allowance to your direct deposit.
Yeah. I was just referring to the fact that they don't have me fully, I don't think I'm fully VA to them yet.
Okay.
So I have scholarships and whatever, financial aid, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They think I owe a balance, which
Okay.
I see that you talked about, but the main thing is just, I don't even want the meal plan. I don't want to.
Got ya.
You have to have it?
No, you do not.
Because
No.
they're trying to charge me for room and board, and because they think I'm a non-Pennsylvania resident, so they think I need room and board and food services.
Yeah.
And I don't want
Yeah, you do not need those. And so after this, we'll have you get with Michael and we'll just scrub you and make sure. Yeah, the other thing is financial services is just gonna pelt you with take this loan out, take this loan. And that's just their job, and it's totally fine. Always just check before you sign anything. I mean, that's just the golden rule of life. Just check with us, just check to make sure, check with financial services just to make sure your balance will be covered. The unfortunate thing is I can't really see all of your federal aid listing, and I know FAFSA has been really wonky this year, so any grant money that's coming through, I just want y'all to get with financial aid just to make sure. But again, we can scrub your accounts together and go over all of the weird nitty gritties. Yeah.
I think he brings up a good point. How do we confirm that we're not getting a meal plan and a room?
Yeah, we on your GI benefits, when you log, on your costs and aid you can see it, but when we log in, and you can log in as well, there's a, I'll show it up here, but it'll say your tuition charges, and underneath there is where I can see students who have meal plan or residence halls. So we can just verify there, just to make sure you're not getting charged any wonkiness. Yeah. There, yeah.
I'm sorry, I won't.
You're okay.
So, when, you might have already covered this,
Mhm.
when does it actually show, when the, so she's still showing it out to her tuition?
Yeah.
So when does it actually clear it out?
Yeah, so are you post 9/11?
Chapter 33.
Chapter, okay, perfect. So you're gonna see that balance until the VA pays. And so the certification, and I'm just gonna drill this all into y'all, so you have it in your brains. We'll certify monthly allowances once the semester starts or before. And then tuition and fees are certified after the add drop period. So the add drop period is September 9th. We have 30 days to certify you for tuition and fees, and that's when they pay.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll go over your account at the end too.
Okay.
We'll just make sure we scrub everyone. Oh, the other thing about Chapter 33, you have to tell the VA you're enrolled. You just gotta. They're gonna send you a text every month. If you say you're not, they're gonna withhold your housing payments. This does not come through our office, this is directly through the VA, so you just wanna make sure that you're receiving the monthly enrollment verification from them. And if you're not, just swing by the office and we'll get on the phone with them. Yeah.
When can we expect that verification message?
Yeah.
It's literally last day of the month, the first day of the month every time.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's gonna come in, as soon as you get it, press yes.
You're transferred, right? Yeah.
I'm transferred.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So folks have used it before, and Michael's used post 9/11 before.
It's typically after your first full month of school, so you can expect the first one, last day of September.
So it's gonna do it every month?
It's, yeah, every month that you're enrolled.
I press yes as soon as I see it.
Yep, don't press no. If you press no by accident, call them and be like, oh, I swear it was an accident.
And if you're unsure, come on up to the office.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, and it, yeah.
Because you got.
I'm thinking about all the other, send them, because this is collaborative, like, we're all here together. What's up?
So, for the VA page, right, so I have scholarships, for example.
Okay.
Do you guys pay, like, the entire tuition, or and I get the cash back from scholarships, or do you guys just pay what's owed on, or does the VA pay what's owed on, including like the scholarship?
That is such a good question. I'm gonna get to it, because I have a
Okay.
slide for this. Yeah, I think it's the next, well, okay, it might not be the next slide, but we're gonna go over that when I get to the VA as the last payer slide. Okay, so we're gonna hold that. How many folks here are non-PA residents? Hooray! Figuratively, and how many, if you're a non-PA resident and you're living in Pennsylvania and you're eligible for any of the GI Bills, addendum, you do not have to be using it. We will grant you in-state residency. So if you're in a residence hall and you're classified as a non-PA resident, but we have your certificate of eligibility, you'll be granted in-state. If you're not in a residence hall, we just need a copy of your lease or mortgage statement. We've had folks who just got out of the service, they don't have a lease or mortgage statement, they're living with their family or living with a friend. That is totally understandable, been there, done that. What we have them do is just get a notarized letter saying that they're living at that residence, and just provide us with like their driver's license or voter registration. So any questions about residency, come to us, because the other great thing is we fall under the registrar and they ultimately have final say in residency, and the registrar is my boss, so like we just all work together with residency. What's up, Michael?
A common question I get is, if you don't have the full GI Bill for any of the GI Bills, so say you're gonna be here for 4 years, and you only have about a year of GI Bill, once we classify you as an in-state resident, we don't go back and take that away in the future, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so say you have 1 month, we've even done it where like someone will give us a certificate of eligibility and they only have 1 month of benefit. That's enough to grant us in-state, and then once that 1 month of benefit is exhausted, we're not gonna go back and convert you to out-of-state. So, yeah, did that make a little more sense?
So you'll stay.
Yeah.
So she's, so
Good question. So any out-of-state scholarships that you have, and this is where it gets a little like gray area for us. Any out-of-state scholarships will be reviewed by financial services, and it's very student specific because they're going to take into account your full financial aid package and convert it to an in-state scholarship rate. But if you're post 9/11 100%, again, the VA is going to cover that full in-state rate already.
Yeah, cause it's gonna alter, it's gonna change her scholarship.
For my
Okay.
JST.
Yes.
So I sent that to Conwell Hall, I think, electronically like 2 days ago.
Okay.
When does that get like, I know I won't get every credit that's on there.
Yeah.
When does that get like divvied up and decided which one's gonna be?
Yeah, so for any JSTs, if you need help sending them, JST is a joint service transcript, so if you have any credits from your time in the service, we evaluate them, and they typically match them up with your gen ed requirements. There's a lot for leadership and a lot for, like orienteering was counted for a math course. But if you have any troubles with that, let us know. What happens is transfer admissions will evaluate them. They're kind of treating them as like a transfer credit evaluation, and then you'll get a notice of what was transferred over.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't see it within like 2 to 3 weeks, let us know. This is a high volume processing time, so like some things are mostly delayed, but just keep us informed.
For the most part, they take at least not 90% of everything as an elective at the very least.
Yeah, the electives are where they'll plug and chug with. And I think you had a question first, and then I'll get to you.
Yeah, just on the in-state,
Yeah.
when can we expect to see that?
Good question, good question. So the first thing you're gonna see for in-state is you're gonna see a note in the activity log that the residency application was logged. What this means is our certifying official, and it's always Laura McBride, because she's the one who has the authorization to do residency. What that means is you've been put on a list, and unfortunately that list has to scoot to admissions for them to update your learner record. Then it goes to financial services to convert any of those financial aid packages, and then it bops back to the registrar for a final update. That takes about 2 to 3 weeks, but again, with the start of the semester, it might take a little bit longer. But if you see that you've been logged for residency, and if you have a bill but you don't have a full coverage of your GI Bill, just go ahead and just pay the in-state rate, and you can always get with financial services to figure out what that dollar looks like. Does that make sense? Sometimes I keep carrying on, I'm like, am I over-explaining? I have a question right there.
Yeah, so I haven't heard of JST, but I did send a transcript from CCAF.
Okay,
Is that what JST is, or is it like military schools that I could bring in certifications and be like, hey, I did this and that?
what is CCAF?
Community College of the Air Force.
Oh,
So there
okay.
was like
Yes.
an official transcript
Yes.
from there,
Mhm.
but it didn't have everything that, like all of my formal education on it.
Yeah,
It only had college credits.
that you took at that community
Versus like
college.
professional military education is something else.
Yeah,
So should I bring in stuff for my PME courses?
bring it all in.
Okay.
Bring it all in, just lay it all out. So right now, this is like an anecdote, but the UArts folks, they're all coming in from UArts because they closed. And I'm working with a student who had like 7 transcripts from 7 different places, but UArts just didn't evaluate. So what our transfer team will do is just look at everything that you have and just plug and play again with what will match up. And you can always schedule, like, they're gonna give you an evaluation. If you're like, hey, I want to schedule an appointment to like discuss, I think I have more to bring. Just talk to them, they're great folks. The primary transfer admissions is Donna Shank, and she is a Marine Corps family. Her husband's been in the Marine Corps for 25 years, so it's good to know who you're working with and how much they like our veterans and service members. Okay, VA as last payer in those sneaky little scholarships. So I'm going to explain this, and if I explain it in a way that does not make sense, be like, you are not clear, Christy. The VA is a little frugal. So if you have any scholarships, there's tuition restricted scholarships, and then there's non-tuition restricted scholarships. It usually says it on your aid package, and it'll say this is a merit-based scholarship, which is tuition restricted. These have to be subtracted from your certification amount with the VA. So as an example, Temple awarded you a $5,000 Conwell scholarship. It's a merit scholarship, so it's tuition restricted. Your tuition is, say, $10,000. So when we ask the VA, when we certify you for tuition and fees, we have to subtract that $5,000 from the $10,000. And only certify the VA for 5,000. The VA is like, you're gonna get all the money you can from your school as tuition restricted, and then we're gonna pay at the end. I've had students who've had their full rides via scholarship, and we've certified the VA for probably pennies. At which point they were like, never mind, I want to give my scholarship to someone else who needs it, and I'll just use my GI Bill. There are scholarships that aren't tuition restricted. Again, it'll say it on your merit-based scholarship, it'll say it on your financial aid package, but if you have any questions, you can check in with Michael or I, because I do have a list of those ones that are tuition restricted.
What does it say on the, financial aid package?
Yeah, so I'm like trying to remember. It will say the type of scholarship you have, and if it's merit-based, it's tuition restricted. But I think the best bet is just to ask us, ask Michael and I, just send us an email and we'll just double check our Excel sheet, because there's like, when I tell you there's like thousands of weird scholarships that come in, we're like, okay, but.
Wait, so the VA has to know about your scholarships, and then also only, I don't get it.
Yeah, okay, it wasn't clear, that's okay. The VA, we have to subtract tuition restricted scholarships from the amount we certify with the VA. This is only for post 9/11 students and Chapter 31 students. So they're truly the last payer. They're like, we're not gonna pay until the tuition restricted scholarships are in place, which is why we encourage students again to apply for FAFSA, because grant money is not tuition restricted. So the Pell Grant can go back in your pocket. Do I have any National Guard or Reserves folks in here? Yes, okay. National Guard, Reserves. If you're in the PA National Guard, just get with me. We'll talk, because there's an Education Assistance Program grant that a lot of students use, and it goes back in your pocket. So we'll chat. We'll chat. Were there any questions about VA being last payer again?
It doesn't have to check with
It applies to Chapter 33.
her.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if your scholarship is not tuition restricted, then that's money back in your pocket. If it is, unfortunately the VA is like, they're a little frugal, it's okay.
no, I kind of self-conscious.
It does. Well, it's hard when you have a student who has like a $10,000 tuition restricted scholarship, and then it's not in their pocket. All right, so this is just a plug for VA.gov, because while Michael and I work for Temple. We only work for Temple. We do certified benefits, but we are not the VA, so some folks get that a little confused because they think we're the VA office at Temple, but we are not. We're just Temple employees. And a lot of the time we'll unfortunately have to direct, like if there's questions that are outside of our control, while we can sit on the phone with you, the VA does not like it when we really try to meddle in your affairs, so just get to know the VA.gov account, get to know the platform when you log in, your education and benefits. You can pull your e-benefit statement, you can view all of your payment statuses for your monthly allowances, and you can, again, update any personal information. So if you change banks and you're like, I did not update my direct deposit, that's all done through the VA website. And these are some key dates. So classes start on Monday, which I don't know how that happened. Yesterday was May. Wednesday, September 4th, we're gonna have an open house in the MBSC. I ordered some bacon jam crostinis, and they were really, really scrumptious, so come on by and get some. That's just a chance for you to see the space. Michael and I will be there. Again, if you have any chaos or any concerns, just let us know. But again, just a chance for you to see the space. And then Monday, September 9th, that's the add drop deadline. I'm highlighting this because that is when you can expect for our 33 students. After that date is when we will begin certifying for tuition and fees. I don't want you to think that like September 10th, we're gonna have everybody certified, because again, 820 students, we have to like go one by one, so. But those are key dates. You'll be getting more emails. I don't like to inundate students too much as the semester starts, because y'all are just trying to acclimate to life on campus. But there are events at the MBSC, we will have them posted, you will get emails. If you ever email us and we don't respond within 24 to 48 hours, depending on the day, check your junk email. You know, Michael and I have a very strong policy, or just ping us again. It is just Michael and I answering our email. I'm sure some of you have dealt with our phone lines, which are a little bit chaotic. Please leave a callback if you're on hold for more than 5 minutes, because folks may be trying to call us right now, but Michael and I are obviously here. But we will always get back to you. Michael and I are more than happy to hop on a Zoom too. Parents, students, anytime you need to get a hold of us, you know, we'll schedule one-on-one and go over everything with you. And then, gosh, I'm almost done. I swear, I feel like this is death by PowerPoint. And after I got out of the Army, I was like, no more PowerPoints. Okay, so you're seeing me using GI benefits. I hope you have all navigated. How many of you have navigated here and done the things? Okay, if you have any feedback about this process, again, let me know, because we want to make it easier. So GI benefits, it's under student tools. So student tools is that top hand bar. GI benefits is on the right-hand side underneath registration. So again, here is where you can log in and navigate everything with your benefits. If you ever get confused, Start Here has some helpful tips and tricks. It's kind of a condensed version of everything that I talked about. You can view all of your student information, so we can see if you're part-time, full-time, what program you're in, what you're up to at Temple. The service member dependent information is pretty important because this is how we track our students at Temple. We may have already captured you on your application when you applied, if you said that you're military connected. A lot of students don't, and then they come like at the last day of the semester and they're like, I have these benefits, and we're like, ah. But this is how we at Temple track you. So this is how, when you do your service member dependent profile, this is how you'll get swipe access to the space once we verify you. And I'm gonna go out of order. I wanna flip these in our portal. I just have to give it our coder. But your first step is to upload your documents. So you upload your certificate of eligibility. That's only one time. You don't need to do that ever again. And then you'll upload any proof of residence. So if you have a lease or mortgage statement. If you're in a residence hall, again, we can see that residence hall charge, so we don't need anything else from you. But the most important thing you have to do each semester, and like each semester, as soon as you register for classes, just burn it into your memory that you need to declare use of your benefits. We cannot process your benefits without consent. Some students declare no. We have a joke of like, oh, you may have won the lottery. Or you have, you know, limited number of benefits and you want to save it for later semesters when you may, whatever your financial journey is. We do not take any action until you declare yes. And if you email us and you're like, where's my money? And you haven't declared yes, we're just gonna give like a little face palm and send that video of me face palming to you. What's up, Michael?
If you're a full-time student, make sure after you're done registering for classes and you have full-time credits, then select yes for declaration. That's full. If you're waiting on a class and you're a part-time status, we're gonna do the first certification part-time, and then it'll get fixed. It just makes things take.
Does that mess up if you like had to add and drop classes? Like okay, for example, I already declared yes, but I had to switch a couple classes up because of like an orientation.
Did you go from full-time to stay full-time, or did you go from full-time to part-time?
Yeah, full-time.
Then it's not an issue. As long as you have at least 12 credits for undergrad and you're full-time, that's fine. It's only really an issue if you go from part-time to
what?
full-time or full-time to part-time.
I just realized I think I was part-time to full-time.
Right. Well, it'll get fixed. It'll get fixed in the second cert.
But
it's just that first monthly housing
If,
allowance.
if everything was done yesterday, then it's good. If certifying was done yesterday, then it should be good.
Yeah, you should be good. And we can check you out too.
Yeah,
The other thing is
the first one I got said 3/4.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, that's only because I registered for like, I didn't have the orientation and app either.
Yeah.
And then if it was done yesterday, then it should be good.
Yeah, and we'll check you. The other thing is if you change your schedule and you just want to triple check with us, please do. I love proactiveness. Oh, we love it. Like, please come to us before it's too late. Which is never too late. It's never like too late. But if you make any changes to your schedule and you're like, hey, can you just update my certification before we get to the second cert, just, yeah, come to us. I'm also gonna go over a really hard concept later, and I hate saving it for the last because I'm like, oh, you poor people, you just wanna enjoy Temple, but I'm gonna go over a hard concept in a bit. It's called rate of pursuit, and I want there to be like a dun 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 after that. The other thing is the activity log. The activity log. This is your activity log. This is like your whew, this is like your whole transparent scribe of everything that my office does with regards to your benefit. So, I took this snippet in 2021, but it's still synonymous in 2024. So so first step, you'll see that the student self-reported their service member dependent information profile. Hooray, we know who you are now. And then you can see on the same day that the student uploaded their certificate of eligibility. Fantastic. The next thing is you're gonna see like a reviewed, and that's usually one of our staff. Typically it's Michael and I reviewing profiles, and what we're looking for is making sure that your certificate of eligibility matches who you are. This gets a little wonky with our folks who are dependents, because sometimes our military family members will upload their sponsor's certificate of eligibility, so just making sure the names match the student. But we always let you know, like if we see something funny, we're gonna call you and harass you until you fix it. There's gonna be reminders, so you can see that the student did all these things, but they didn't declare use of their benefits. They may not have orientation yet, but we're gonna remind you to declare use of your benefits. And then that reminder worked, because 3 days later they declared yes. And this again, this is for our 33 students. I don't have any folks using chapter 35, but this is also for our 31 students. So we're gonna certify you that first certification before the term starts. You're gonna see $0, and that's because we are certifying you for the monthly allowances, so no money is coming to Temple. Like $0 just means that's the money that's going to you, no money coming to Temple. This huge long blurb is just like it explains a two-step certification process, but it came out of a piece of legislation that we have to let students know about, so it's Isaacson and Rowe. But again, it's the process of certifying students after the drop period. And then you will see a huge number. You're gonna see your credit certified and then the huge tuition and fee number once we certify you for tuition and fees. So this student was certified for their tuition and fees on September 27th, and then the VA paid on October 4th. And it's like a happy ever after story. But that's how you can use your log. Also, if we ever see anything wonky, one, we're gonna contact you, but two, I can add comments to this log, so I might just put it in your log of like, hey, please fix this. Hey, we don't have your certificate of eligibility on file, please upload it. I think this is where dun dun dun's supposed to go, but I was like, where's my other dun 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 slide?
Are you familiar with the, Parent Plus loan? So like whatever VA does not cover, then the parents can apply for the Parent Plus loan.
I'm not familiar, but we can learn together.
Because I heard like if you're 100% civil veteran,
Yeah,
you can defer the payments, and so you have to apply every year.
Okay.
And then after you, I think it's on that, it's somewhere out, I was like, I think it's over here.
yeah, Okay.
Temporary, but then I guess if you're 100% civil veteran, you can defer it, and then once the student graduates, they typically apply the next year.
yeah. I'm not familiar,
Yeah, I've
but
had a couple of people that
any
tell
weird
me.
Parent Plus loans, we'll talk.
Okay.
This is where I'm gonna do the dun dun dun, but you don't have to look at the screen. If you have, I'm gonna give this to you. There's a page on here that talks about rate of pursuit. Hey, how'd that happen? I clicked to the MPSC. Anyway, there's a page that talks about rate of pursuit, and the reason I'm going over this now is because we've had students get bit in the butt at the end, and it's not something that we can easily catch. So for chapter 33, the VA will pay you. So Temple may consider you full-time, but the VA may not. And this really comes into play with that housing allowance. So the VA is always, if you're 100%, they're always gonna pay tuition and fees. But there's different rates based on full-time and part-time. Temple also does fun little things called 7A courses and 7B courses. If you are in a full-term course and you're full-term throughout, you do not have to worry. If you are, man, it's so hard to explain when you're up here now too. So if you're in a 7A course and a 7B course, you would have to be full-time for each of those courses because we would have to submit a certification for the 7A with those credits and a certification for 7B with those credits. So if you're in 6 credits for 7A and 6 credits for 7B, that's 12 credits, that's full-time at Temple. but the VA looks at it separately, and the VA will see, oh, 6 credits for this one, 6 credits for this one, no housing, because you have to be at least 51%. So 6 over 12, 50%. If you're in the 7A, 7B, each would be 50%, and they wouldn't pay you housing, which is really crappy. And we try to avoid that. It's just we can't really avoid it until we go to certify students and see what their courses look like. But if y'all are in all, like if you're in the full term, so for fall, if you're enrolled from 8/26 to 12/17 without any other wonky classes, you're good to go. If you think you have a weird wonky class that starts 12/26 and ends October 14th, come talk to us and we'll check out your rate of pursuit. Michael?
Easiest way to say it is take all your credits at the same time in order to prep that.
Yeah, take all your credits at the same time. And if you don't, because some colleges can't, like nursing folks, you may not be able to, just let us know, we'll figure you out.
Is that deferred all for the graduate students?
So graduate students is 9 credits full-time, and it does differ, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, 'cause my program runs really, it shows it full-time in the fall, so that'll be part-time for the spring.
Professional schools are also different. Professional schools have a lot of leeway with this in the VA. And I should have addended this. This is for undergrads, that rate of pursuit rule. For our graduate students, come talk to Michael and I, because there's a whole sheet that the VA has based on like how many weeks you're enrolled. We have to do math, basically. So we'll just do math together. And we can also check in and make sure that you were certified full-time with the VA. That is the other important thing all this pamphlet has, just read it through. If you withdraw from any courses and you drop down to part-time, you will incur a debt. So just make sure, like if you're dropping down from full-time to part-time, the VA will always want their money. Like think of the VA as like a loan shark. Like if you drop any of your courses, they're gonna want their money back as long as unless you remain full-time, then that's totally fine. The other thing is, punitive versus non-punitive grades. Did you have a point about the?
Yeah, it's if you withdraw, not if you drop.
Yes.
You can drop and that's fine, but after the add drop period, if you withdraw, that's when you're gonna know. Right.
Yeah. So punitive versus non-punitive grades, I'm gonna get them mixed up, but I'm gonna give you an example. If you earn your F, like if you've gone to your class to the bitter end and you get an F, the VA does not mind, and we don't report that. If you go to your class and you midway just stop attending, that's called an unearned F, and we have to report that to the VA. So Michael and I, often students are confronted with us where they're like, I need to get out of this course, or I just stopped attending, or I'm gonna withdraw. Based on your financial journey or decisions, sometimes students really just take that L and earn that F, which is a tank to their GPA, but then depending on their financial situation, it's less of a hit to their finances because they won't incur a debt if they drop below that full-time rate. So just don't stop attending your classes, because that is always reported back to us. And it may be a class where you're like, they don't take attendance. They do, because they don't take it for your grade, but they have to let us know if our VA students just stopped attending. Michael?
And before you get to that point where it's like overwhelming because you feel like you're gonna fail the class or you need to withdraw or whatever, come to us first, because there's a lot of resources that can possibly help.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't go over it. If you poke on our website, again, Temple's huge, and you may feel overwhelmed, starting out because there's so many resources out there. If you feel overwhelmed trying to connect with some folks, just ask Michael and I. We've had students use the Student Success Center for tutoring. We can help you navigate disability resource services. Whatever that may be, we can help you with that.